I welcome you all in the another episode of Business Studies. Today, my topic is business environment and its importance. Okay? So today we are going to see the importance of business environment. Business environment plays a very vital role in the field of a business. Business sometimes it get affected, sometimes it cause threat to the business, and sometimes it gives benefit to the business. That is opportunity. It gives opportunity to the business. Whenever a business environment changes, or if any fluctuation arises in the business environment, it will reversely affect the business. Sometimes it gives threat and sometimes it gives benefit to the business. You're getting the point? So in what way the change happens in the environment? Five factors are responsible. 5 dimensions are responsible. Either we call it as dimensions or factors. 5 dimensions are responsible through which a fluctuation arises in the business environment. And when this fluctuation arises in the business environment, sometimes it gives threat to the business and sometimes it gives opportunity to business to grow higher and higher. You're getting the point? And what we have to do? We have to be ready always in order to cope up with the changing environment. Then only we can survive in this field. For that reason only, study of business environment is very much essential nowadays. So just now I told you 5 dimensions are there through which this change happens. So what are those dimensions? First of all, we are going to see about those dimensions. The first dimension is social environment. Social environment. Social environment. It happens when there is a change in customs and traditions, values and expectations from the business side. When there is a change in the values, when there is a change in the customs and traditions of the society people, when society people's expectation is something different what we are providing to the society, a fluctuation arises. Okay? So we have to be always ready to cope up with the changing environment due to societal changes. Okay, so this is one dimension through which the variation takes place. The another one is economical environment happens when there is fluctuation in interest, when there is inflation in the system, economic system. For example, if the rate of interest is suddenly increased, it is going to decrease the purchasing power. You're getting the point? Similarly, when there is a inflation rate, again, it causes reverse effect in the business because the purchasing power is again decreased. So this is another cause. And the third one is technological cause. A variation happens due to this technological cause also. Suppose we are running an old machinery, we are following the old techniques, And suddenly what happens, a new technique arises in the market, and our rival company, they start working on it. What happens if we are not adopting those new techniques? We are out from the business after some times, because their machine, their techniques, they'll produce more than us. They can sell goods in less cost in the market because they generated more outputs, but we have only few outputs, and it is very difficult for us to reduce the cost, reduce the price. If we reduce, we will in loss. For example, we are pouring 1 kilogram in our machinery, it gives 10 pieces. And rival companies, they are also pouring 1 kilograms in their machine and they are getting 15 pieces. So they get 5 pieces more than us. They can reduce the price and sell it in the market, and they earn more than us. But it is very difficult for us to reduce the price. If we reduce the price, we will in loss. So this is another cause. And the next one is political. If there is any change in the political environment, suddenly government changes and they issue new policies and make the business to follow the policies. Due to this, variation happens in the business. Okay, we have to follow the new amendments, we have to follow the new policies of the government. It is just like a panic situation for the business. But anyhow, business has to follow this changing scenarios. Next is legal environment. Legal environment happens when there is any legislation passed by the government and orders issued by the government. Okay? When any orders issued from the government, we are bound to obey the government instructions. Nowadays, what we are facing at this lockdown situation. Okay? So every business suffers due to the government orders. You're getting a point? Like this, we have to follow every time the government orders. Whenever a sudden government order comes, every business has to follow. Okay? And this will cause problem to the business sometimes. So these are the 5 causes through which a variation always takes place in the environment. And when the change happens in the environment, what we have to do, we have to be ready to cope up with the situation. We have to be ready to meet the situation, changing situations, changing environment with our remedial measures and remedial plan. Then only we can able to survive in the market. Okay? Then come to these are the importance of business environment. Just now I told you, when the business environment get changed or a variation happens in the business environment, sometimes it gives threat to the business and sometimes it gives opportunity to the business. When it gives opportunity, it means we have to be ready always to grab those opportunity and convert into profit. We have to take the first mover step. Whenever opportunity is there, we have to take first mover step in order to grab the opportunity and convert those opportunity into profit. You're getting the point? The first point says that it enables the firm to identify opportunities and getting the first mover advantages. Whenever opportunity comes, we have to forward ourselves. We have to take first mover steps in order to grab the thing, and that has to be converted into profit. For example, Maruti Udyog, at that time, they feel that the need of small car, and they introduce small car in the society, in the country. What happens? The business of Maruti Udyog blooms. So this is called first mover step. Whenever if the changing environment gives an opportunity to the business, we have to be ready to grab those situations and to convert those situations into profit. Okay, next is it helps the firm to identify threats and early warning signals. Okay, when sometimes due to the changing environment, business gives threat to the business. For example, we are dealing with the product, we are producing and supplying a kind of product in the market. Suddenly what happens, our rival company arises, that is foreign company is going to launch the same kind of product in our society. It is a threat. It is a threat. So what we have to do? We have to face those situations. Then only we can able to survive in the market. What we have to do? We have to improvise our techniques. We have to make a technique equivalent to that company. We have to produce goods in better quality, and that has to be supplied in the market at lesser price. When we will do like this, when we satisfy the customer, we will survive in the market. You getting the point? So that's why it is there. Whenever threat comes, we have to be ready with our remedial measures, remedial plans to cope up with the situation. Next is it helps in tapping useful resources. It helps in tapping useful resources. Got it? Useful resources. So when we feel that due to changing environment, we feel that this commodity is going to be short in coming period. The availability of such kind of raw material or material is less in coming period, or scarcity may arise in future. Then what we have to do? We have to tap those resources. We have to preserve, we have to buy and preserve those resources for future course of action. But we have to tap only that much of quantity which is needed. If we tap more than the requirement, again, it is not good for the business as well as not good for the country also. Okay? So if you feel that a scarcity is there for a kind of goods or raw material is not going to get in coming days due to the shortage and all, now at the time it's freely available. So what we have to do? We have to buy the required raw materials, and that has to be stored in the godown. This is called tapping of useful resources. Okay. Next is it helps in coping with rapid changes. Rapid changes. Okay. So whenever change happens in the society, what we have to do? We have to cope up with this changing environment by our remedial measures and remedial plans. So when we have the remedial plan, remedial measures, we can easily cope up with the changing environment. And the last point says that when we follow these measures one by one, when we always be ready to meet the changing environments with our remedial plans, it helps us to move forward. It helps us to move again and again forward. It helps us to grow higher and higher. So this was the basic importance of business environment. For this reason only, nowadays study of business environment is very much required in the business or in the management also. Okay, see you in next episode.